Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome everyone to today's event titled Identify Commercial Prospects Right for You, Fill Your Funnel, sponsored by LexisNexis Risk Solutions and hosted by Digital Insurance. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that today's session is being recorded and you are currently in a listen-only mode. Please note that the On24 room that you're in today allows you to individually adjust and resize all available panels that do appear on your screen. To resize any of the console panes, simply click on the lower right corner of that pane to adjust. And you can move panes to your preference by clicking anywhere on the top title bar of that panel and dragging to your desired location within the console. Finally, if you should experience any technical difficulties during today's event, we do recommend you first try refreshing your browser to reset your connection. If that does not work, you can send a tech chat through the Q&A panel stating your technical issue, and I'll be more than happy to help you resolve any difficulties that you might be experiencing today. And now, without any further delay, let's begin today's event. Once again, Identify Commercial Prospects Right for You, Fill Your Funnel, sponsored by LexisNexis Risk Solutions and hosted by Digital Insurance. I would like to introduce our moderator for today, and that is Pat Spear. Pat, you now have the floor.
Thanks, Christina, and thanks to all of you for joining us. We have a lot to cover today, so let me begin by introducing our first speaker. First on our agenda today is Sandeep Caridi, Vice President of Acquisition and Retention Solutions at LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Sandeep is responsible for managing solutions that enable insurance carriers to acquire new customers and retain and grow existing policyholder relationships. Prior to joining LexisNexis, he served in several executive roles for more than 18 years with several firms, including ChoicePoint, Axiom, Merkle, and Harlan Clark. Sandeep has deep expertise in marketing strategies, analytics, campaign attribution, and optimization. He's a frequent speaker at industry conferences and has previously been a member of several trade groups. Sandeep completed his graduate studies at the University of North Carolina in Charlotte with a master's degree in computer science and a focus on data mining and artificial intelligence. So, without further ado, let's get started. Sandeep, you now have the floor.
Thanks, Pat. Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to speak with you all today, and special thanks to Digital Insurance for hosting the webinar. I'm privileged to have with me two agents who have gracefully agreed to share their insights. Brittany Tyndall is with Creech Roddy Watson and Pat Lavoie with Hub International. Brittany began her insurance career over 12 years ago in the personal lines department for a local brokerage. She also sold farm policies and equine mortality policies on the side. It made perfect sense since her husband was a horse trainer and had lots of connections. She then went on to work for a local bank where she obtained her life and health license. Over the past 4 years, Brittany has enjoyed being on the independent agent side, where she's a full-time producer specializing in commercial lines. Pat has spent his lifetime devoted to insurance. For many years, Pat was a producer and sales manager for a large regional agency. You could say he's seen it all. And after many, many years, he decided to try his hand at retirement. Of course, that didn't last long. Before he knew it, Pat was back doing what he loves best. Pat is now the business development manager for Hub International, a national brokerage that focuses strictly on commercial P&C insurance. We will begin with a quick overview of LexisNexis Risk Solutions, who we are and what we do, and challenges with identifying quality leads for commercial insurance sales. We will also share a quick demo of our prospect-based tool and then speak with Brittany and Pat on their experiences. So let's begin. LexisNexis Risk Solutions is part of RELX Group. RELX Group is a global provider of information and analytics for professional and business customers across a range of industries. The group serves customers in more than 180 countries and has offices in about 40 countries. It employs approximately 30,000 people, of whom almost half are in North America. RELX Group operates in 4 major segments that you see listed here. Today we will focus on our risk and business analytics area, specifically our insurance business. Big data and large-scale analytics is at the heart of everything we do. If you're wondering why this matters, data comes in many forms: structured, unstructured, and everything in between. It needs to be collected, ingested, cleansed, and normalized so critical business insights can be drawn. At LexisNexis, our proprietary high-performing computing cluster, our HPCC system, enables all of these functions, and our linking technology, LexID, allows us to seamlessly link disparate data sources. All of this then enables us to leverage analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Insurance is the largest division of our business. We serve 4 major lines, including personal lines P&C, life, and commercial insurance. We help leading insurance carriers and agencies automate and improve critical business processes, reduce expenses, combat fraud, and gain pivotal insights to differentiate and deliver higher levels of customer experience. We serve over 600 different insurance carriers and have relationships with 95 of the top 100 carriers. Our market platform allows you to integrate data knowledge when and where you need it across the insurance continuum, from the point of marketing all the way to the point of claim. Our single interface provides a single point of entry for carriers and agents, which ensures that the data is always consistent, current, and easily integrated. So we save the industry time and help them execute much faster. Again, peace of mind that they can stay competitive in our fast-paced market. Through our platform, we have the ability to deliver a range of critical data solutions, information, attributes, and scores. Now to get into the topic for today, how do you identify commercial prospects right for you and optimize your sales process? First off, we understand your challenges. The market is highly competitive with new entrants coming in every day and existing players changing tactics. Sales cycles can be complicated, which makes identifying the right location for your buyer and the timing of your contact efforts key to your success. So, with these challenges, how do we go about finding the best prospects that match your appetite? Earlier, I touched briefly on the vast data resources that we have at our disposal. Our systems make the most of disparate data sources, making sense and enriching them so valuable insights can be derived for your customers. Prospect Base can help you discover standout commercial prospects and perhaps most importantly, identify those right prospects at the right time because you or your prospective customers do not have the time to waste. We know that many small business owners renew their other lines of commercial insurance at much the same time as their workers' comp. Workers' comp tends to lead the way. It is undoubtedly their biggest expense and a key indicator, especially when it comes to predicted renewal date. More about that later. It all begins with identifying the right leads to fill your sales funnel. There are a number of key considerations. Geography. Is this an area where you target where your target business is located? What might be the primary buying location for the business you're looking to target? Firmographics such as SIC code, class code, and number of employees allow you to target the right appetite. Who is the carrier the business is currently insured with? So you know if you're competitive, and what is the likely renewal date so you can focus your sales efforts during the greatest time of consideration. Here is a U.S. map showing the data coverage we have for commercial insurance leads. The exact type of data we have in each state is subject to availability, coverage, and state-level restrictions. In most states, as you can see, we have the complete profile of the business. In a few states, the coverage is not as comprehensive at this time, but we're always working to build on the information available within Prospect Base.
Now let's look at the functionality of Prospect Base. Here we have an agent based in Texas looking to generate targeted lists for a specific underwriting appetite they're interested in. So I click on state, I start typing Texas, I see Texas show up, I'm going to click Texas. Next I'm going to go into county. This agent is focused on a specific county, Dallas County. I'm going to click Dallas. And the agent also has an option to further narrow down the list, selecting city and zip code. Next, I click on policy. Here I have the option of targeting businesses with specific renewal months on their insurance policy. From experience, most marketers know that the best time to reach out to a business is within about 60 to 90 days of renewal date. So I'm going to select January, February, and March. There's additional filter capabilities here, things like policy status, carrier group, and class code. We're going to skip that for today. Next, we'll go into specific SIC codes. This agent is focused on residential construction. So we're going to click here, and then it'll show all of the SIC codes that are available for selection. I'm going to click on construction, general building contractors, and select residential buildings. And there's additional selection capabilities here in terms of employee size and business name. If I click on search, it's going to display all of the search criteria that I put in that is shown here on the left side of the screen: state, county, renewal months, and SIC codes. This is showing the result of the search criteria. And let's go ahead and pick a couple of these businesses to view closely. I click on view, and now it's going to bring up more details that we have on these specific businesses. It's going to show contact name, phone number, their policy status, renewal date, and their existing carrier. And for your convenience, there's also a Google map that shows exactly where the business is located. I can click next to see the additional records we selected earlier, and I can hit cancel to exit out of the screen. And now that we have our search criteria defined, I have the option of saving this search, and let's call it residential construction 1, and I click save. And now this saved search is available for me under saved searches for future use, and any of the business records we viewed is also available under order history. That's a quick look at Prospect Base. If you're interested in learning more about how we can help you identify high-quality commercial insurance leads, contact us at LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Now let's get into exactly what you've been waiting for. Our guests, Brittany and Pat, will share their experience on how they have been leveraging Prospect Base. First off, let's learn a little more about them. Brittany, can you tell us a little bit about your agency and the type of business you focus on?
Sure. I work for a local independent insurance agency. We handle all lines from life and health to commercial and personal home and auto. I specialize in commercial insurance, so I go out and meet with my clients in the field and discuss, everything from their property concerns to their workers' compensation concerns.
Great. Pat, do you want to go next?
Sure. Yeah, I've spent most of my career as a producer and a sales manager for a regional agency. And I retired a few years ago and came back now as a sales manager for a large national broker. And we focus, producers that I work with sell strictly commercial property and casualty insurance.
Fantastic. We're fortunate to have you both. Let's get into it. Pat, could you share some of the success you have seen with Prospect Base?
Well, the primary success has been being able, have opportunities to present accounts. And I've been using LexisNexis way before then. It was back when it used to be called Data Lister. I believe I first started using it as a producer in mid-'90s or whenever it got started, and I bought it on my own because the agency didn't want to buy it. So I had the opportunity to present many accounts as a producer because the information I got in prospecting. And also I've shared that with many sales people, producers that reported up through me over the years. Countless numbers of accounts we did. I would say that LexisNexis, for me as a producer, was the database I used to get in front of about 50% of the new business presentations that I did.
That's great to hear, Pat. Brittany, would you like to share anything?
Okay, sure. I really enjoyed using Prospect Base. I had it paid for within my first 2 months of use, and then I had 10 more months of, benefiting from using Prospect Base. It's a great tool. Like I said, I've had great success with it. The quality of the data that's in it is usually pretty accurate, so I'm very pleased.
Fantastic. Sounds like you just made a recommendation, but is there anything additional, Brittany, you would add in terms of recommending Prospect Base to your fellow agents?
Yes, I would say another thing that it is actually good for is time management, because you can pull the reports, for example, by county or by region or by class code. I like to go by county because, for example, I may say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to travel such and such county and call on prospects there. So I just pull a report based on that county and that renewal date that I want to use, and you're good to go. So it helps with time management as well.
Yeah, excellent point. I've used it for that too. So you're doing a presentation that's an hour commute, right? You're already going in to see an account, and you can use database to find other good prospects that are located right there to stop in to see.
Exactly.
And when their insurance is coming up.
Excellent. Great points from you both. Now we would love to hear your specific usage. How often do you use Prospect Base within your agency, and who might be the type of person within your agency using it? Who wants to go first?
I can do that. I think that Prospect Base is again such a great tool. What I do is I print out the report. For example, if I pull a report by county or a 90-day expiration list, and I put it in a 3-ring binder. That way I can write all over it. I can write who I talked to, who they ended up saying they need to talk to, if the phone number needs to be changed, anything like that. I write email addresses, just whatever information I can pretty much find. Then from there, if I set up a meeting, I'll go in, and log that on my Outlook and my computer. But I do actually do it the old-fashioned way and print a 3-ring binder, print those reports, and put them in there so I can write all over them and really get down into each account.
Yeah, for me, I don't use it that much myself because I don't do much prospecting anymore as a sales manager. But our people use it to develop a list of, like 10 people I'm going to call on the phone, and they will have the names and the effective date, and they use the information that they get from LexisNexis, specifically the insurance company and the date, as part of the reason why they're calling. We also use it for direct mail campaign. So for the producers, we'll send out, let's say, 15 letters, but we know who to send them to. We just don't randomly send them. We send them to accounts or prospects that we know are coming up within the next 60 days. And then the producers follow up on those letters.
That's great, Pat. Sounds like you both are using some real good best practices out there. Pat, tell me about the value you find with the predicted renewal date and the carrier of record information on the leads.
Well, on the renewal day, having the renewal date is probably the single most important thing from my point of view, because I call it the window of interest, where you're talking to somebody about having an opportunity to work on their account. And I would say the window of interest is about 90 days from the effective date. For example, right now, it's a complete waste of time to call or walk in or even network with an account. And we're talking smaller accounts now. I don't get involved in big national accounts, which take longer to develop. But we're talking an account with 5 to 15,000 in commission. And it's pretty much, in my opinion, a waste of a call or a walk-in to talk to somebody whose insurance comes up in August, September, October, or November. So there's what I call a window of interest right now, which would be December, January, and February. And so we know what accounts are coming up on those dates, and so we're much more efficient in calling and prospecting, because right now we're just totally focused on those 3 months rather than just randomly calling people that we don't know when they come up.
Exactly, and those businesses may or may not be in the mode of decision making around their policy outside of that window.
Exactly, and for me, that's the single most valuable thing. I mean, without knowing when the effective date is, you have a 1 in 4 chance, right? Assuming all of the months are equal in terms of when expirations come. You have a 1 in 4 chance of calling in the right time. This way you have a 100% chance that you're calling at the right time.
Yeah, that's very well put. Brittany, anything you want to add here?
Sure. What I usually do is if I have an idea of who to call from Prospect Base, the company, maybe the person's name is listed there, then I Google the business. I also look them up on Facebook, on LinkedIn, any type of information that I can gather, and maybe even have a mutual contact there. For example, I might do some research online and discover that I know a lady who is the assistant secretary there or something. So to me, I run my reports 90 days ahead, so I agree with Pat in that aspect. But a lot of it, too, is could possibly be a connection. So I start with Prospect Base, then I do some additional research, with the name that's given there in Prospect Base, and can possibly gain some relationships there. So I go ahead and call them kind of whenever it comes up, even 90 days ahead of time, or even if you call them the day before, they may say, oh, I just renewed, but, I know you know so-and-so, or maybe we just renewed, but we weren't very happy with how our agent handled
Absolutely.
it. And I'll say, oh, great. Well, let me go ahead and call you maybe 90 days ahead of time next year. I'm going to go ahead and put you on my calendar if that's okay. And then I say, let me get your email. I go ahead and get their email address, and I send them a follow-up email to thank them for the phone call, and that way they have my email. And I'd say maybe probably 3 times the last year, just that process, even though I didn't even meet with people or quote their insurance, they have reached out to me mid-year for random insurance questions or maybe a quote on a new line of business that they need. But, it all started with that contact from Prospect Base.
That's great advice from you both. In closing, are there any additional thoughts or advice, Brittany or Pat, you would like to share?
Yeah, I have one of the producers I work with has used a Prospect Base very successfully doing walk-in calls, which can be kind of awkward. I never got too good at that walk-in being you just walk into somebody's place of business and introduce yourself and say why you're there. And he incorporates why he's there with the effective date and says, hey, the reason why I'm dropping by without an appointment is I did some research here and I found out that your policy is coming up for, your work comp policy is coming up for renewal on, January 1st, and I just stopped by to see if you'd be interested in an alternative. And so that gives you a reason to be there rather than just flopping in,
I agree. That is great. I have done that from time to time. I agree with Pat, it is kind of awkward, but I have done that from time to time. Pretty much I recommend Prospect Base, to any other agency out there because, I've had a very positive experience with it. And as an insurance agent, we are into helping people. It's what we do. So I'd be glad to help any other, agent that needs some help with this system.
That is fantastic feedback and hopefully will help a lot of agents out there. For all the webinar attendees, we have a special offer. You can visit the Prospect Base guest user site and get access so you can get a feel for functionality of the tool. I hope you found this webinar useful, and special thanks to our guests Brittany and Pat. If you would like more information about Prospect Base, please contact us at insurance.sales@lexisnexisrisk.com or by calling 1-800-869-0751. Thank you.